straight in today. Okay, we're gonna jump straight into the content that we have for today because I want to make sure that you guys get the information that you need in order to be successful during this year's SNMA conference. I know that you guys are probably packing your bags. Some of you guys may be already down in Pittsburgh. Of course, I want to give a big shout out to Region 8. Region 8 is my region. Okay, Region 8 is my region, and I am so proud of you guys for hosting this year's SNMA conference. I know that it's going to be a beautiful time down in Pittsburgh this year, okay? I know that you guys are ready for the conference to be over, those that have been worker bees and doing a whole lot of things to put this together, but I know that it's going to be amazing. Of course, every time that it comes to comes to the time of conferences, I always want to make sure that I am giving you guys the tools, tips, tricks, and all the things in order to be successful, okay? For those of you that do not know who I am Dr. Nortey. I am a board-certified pediatrician, and I am also the founder of mknmentoring, okay? I am here for you guys. I am your favorite medical mentor, and I'm making sure that you guys have the tools, the resources, and the guidance in order to make sure that you guys achieve your dreams of becoming physicians. Okay, that is what Dr. Nortey is here for. So today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts at the SNMA conference. And honestly, you can use this for the SNMA conference. You can also use this for many other conferences that you guys may be attending this year. Of course, if you're part of my newsletter, then you already know all the different conferences that happen throughout the year. And if you aren't a part of my newsletter, then you need to go ahead and sign up for the free newsletter. Like I said, free newsletter, F-R-E-E, free. I know students love free, so that resource is there for you. The resource is available. Take advantage of it. Okay, and like I always say, a lot of conferences allow students to go to these conferences for free as well, or at a much discounted cost. Okay, so make sure you're taking advantage of all the things that are afforded to you. So like I said, we're going to jump straight in today, and we're going to be talking about the do's and don'ts at the SNMA conference as you guys pack your bags and you're ready to catch your flight, bus, drive down to the SNMA conference that is happening this week from today until the 5th, until Sunday in Pittsburgh, PA. Okay, so the first do that I always have is to make sure that you are networking when you go to these conferences. I know that networking can seem very intimidating for a lot of you guys. Networking can seem very intimidating if you're not used to being in an environment where you do have to put yourself out there. Okay, but I want to make sure that you guys are networking with your peers. Okay, so most of the time when we talk about networking with your peers, this is considered networking horizontally. Okay, people that are in the same struggle that you're in, you want to make sure that you're talking, that you're engaging. It can be very easy to stick within the group of people that you came with or people that you're already familiar with. Okay, but I am charging you to at least get contact information of 2 students that you were not familiar with before you went to the conference. Okay, so I want you to get the contact information. It could be phone number, email, Instagram, whatever it is. Probably not Instagram because y'all just gonna be playing with that. Not social media. Something that is networking at professional level. So email or telephone number is probably a little bit more appropriate if you're going to be using it for networking in that way. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're building genuine relationships. Okay, it's really icky. It's really icky when people know that you're just trying to get their information because you're trying to come up on something. Okay, that is not the way that we network effectively. Okay, we build relationships, we build community. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're building genuine relationships when you're networking with someone horizontally. What does that look like, Dr. Nortey? Okay, let's say you're in one of the sessions and you see that someone may have been in another session with you that was similar, or this is the first time that you're seeing them. Clearly, there's some things that you guys may have in common. Okay, either a resource that you guys want to learn more about, either you're both freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you're both post-grads and trying to figure it out. There's something that you guys have in common. If you're both at the conference, there's going to be something that you guys can kind of agree and converge on. Okay, so jump into genuine conversation. Okay, what brought them to the conference? What school do they go to? What has their journey been like, right? Because hearing other people's and I'll say testimonies, hearing other people's stories and testimonies may help you in your own journey, right? But of course, you're just wanting to build friendship, build networking relationships, because even though you may not be thinking about it, down the line, these may be the same people that you're calling to get consults from later on once you guys both become physicians. Okay, so these relationships are not for just in the moment. They can be lifelong friendships that you're building. Okay, so it's very, very important. When we talk about building horizontal relationships, we also have to talk about building vertical relationships. What is building vertical relationships, Dr. Nortey? This is networking with the different schools, networking with, if you're a pre-medical student, networking with medical students. If you are a medical student, networking with residency programs and residents. Okay, so it is very important that you're doing both of these. Both of these serve a very important role in your journey. And it can take you from getting into a program to not getting into a program. Okay? So you want to make sure that you are doing both of these. If you're a pre-medical student, you want to make sure that you are going to the medical school fair. Okay? Typically, the fair usually opens up Thursday afternoon-ish, so you have a bit of time to go to the different schools. Definitely on Friday is going to be open for a longer period of time, mostly the whole day. And then, of course, for a short amount of time on Saturday. I would not wait till Saturday to go and speak to a school. Like, don't let that be the plan. If it spills over into Saturday, that's fine. And I say that because a lot of the time, some programs may leave before it's officially like over and done with. So if there's schools that you really want to connect with, make sure that you go ahead and do that on Thursday or Friday. Okay? I'm giving you guys pro tips. Make sure you do that Thursday, Friday. Make it a priority for you. Okay? They make it real fun in the they make it really, really fun in the fairs. A lot of times there's different prizes, raffles. Sometimes there's food that is in the medical school fair. So make sure you go. And the same thing applies to students that are medical students and they're looking for residency programs. Okay. A lot of times they may be in the same large space and it's just divided by pre-medical and medical, or a medical school fair, residency fair. So make sure you're talking to these programs. Okay, make sure that you're getting on their list so that they can contact you after the conference is over. And I don't know why my eye is tearing, but child, I'm not crying. My eye is just acting crazy. Okay, so make sure that you are making time to go to the medical school fair and the residency program fair. Okay, and while you're in the fair, make sure you grab a pen, a cup, candy, whatever they have to offer, take it all. Don't take too much. Don't take too much. Just in case you got to fly back to where you're going to. You want to make sure that your bag is not overloaded. But make sure that you're picking up swag. Make sure that you are taking advantage of the free things that are available to you. Okay? That's always a great part of going to these conferences. There's always a lot of swag, a lot of different things that you guys can pick up from the tables. Okay? But most importantly, make sure that you're getting the information from the school that you need. Okay, some schools, they may not advertise that they have post-bac programs. So make sure if you're in a certain region and you may want to go to their medical school, but you're looking for post-bac programs, make sure you go up to that table so that you can ask about different pre-medical programs that they may have. Okay, Dr. Nortey has a whole philosophy on post-bac programs, but we'll save that for another discussion. Okay. Okay. Also, when we're talking about networking, if you want to get, it may be a little bit late right now, but if you want to get physical business cards, you can do that. But also having a digital business card on your phone can be very helpful as well. Okay, and people just scan the QR code and then they can connect with you. You can also do the same thing with your LinkedIn. Okay, where they scan the QR code and they can link with you. So make sure you have all those things functioning. I think a free digital business card is called Bink or Blink, something like that. But just look up a free option. This is not something that you have to pay for, get too fancy with. Look up free options that you can use during the conference, okay? So that you're showing up prepared. Most of the time, I will tell you, programs will not take printed out resumes at the conference. Okay, I'm just letting you know, I'm saving trees, I'm saving paper. Okay, most of the time they don't take the resumes at the conference. So save yourself some time with that. Okay, also, when you're going to these different sessions, make sure that you are asking questions. Ask engaging questions. I know sometimes it can seem very intimidating to ask a question, to speak up, but this is your time to get your questions answered. Also, a lot of the times people wait till the end of the session to go up to the speaker to ask a question. There is nothing wrong with this. However, you're going to be waiting in a really long line to ask a question that you could have asked during the presentation. If time runs out, that's different. Okay? But if you can get your question answered in real time, make sure that you are doing that. Okay? And sometimes the speaker has to leave to go to another session that they may be speaking in, so you may not get the opportunity to ask the question that you had. Make sure that you are asking your question and getting your questions answered. Okay, because what I'm learning is that students have resources. They have the people in front of them that can give them the answers to make this journey a little bit easier. But for some reason, they're being held back from asking questions and truly utilizing what is being offered to them. Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys are able to gain the full benefits of these spaces that are created just for you. Okay, make sure you're taking advantage of it. Okay, and if you guys have any questions, any part of this live, make sure you go ahead and answer your question. I will stop what I'm talking about to answer your question. This is also another space that is here for you to answer your question, to make sure that your journey is not as hard as it has been for others. Okay. The second or the third part is dress the part. Okay. I know that we're in an age where people feel like I can wear whatever I want and I'm still professional. Yes, but no. Okay. Like my mother would say, there is decency in order. Okay. The SNMA has put out some really great videos about outfit ideas that you guys can have. Of course, for ladies is usually skirt, dress pants, things as such, and for men slacks, khakis, XYZ. Okay, for ladies, heels are amazing. However, there is a lot of walking that happens during the conference. Okay, so if you want to wear heels, baby, I love it for you. However, I would say pack a pair of flats or something that you could throw on your feet walking from session to session, because sometimes they're just far apart from each other. Okay, and I want to make sure that we're not doing the struggle walk during the conference. Okay, so make sure that you are packing what is necessary for you to be comfortable and for your feet to be happy. Okay, so If there's any questions, y'all could go ahead and ask those questions right now about the do's. So going over it real quick, we talked about networking, okay? So we want to make sure that we are networking at the conference. That includes vertical networking, so networking with someone that's above you. If you're a pre-medical student, you're talking to medical students. If you're a medical student, you're talking to residency programs and residents, okay? And we also want to make sure that we are networking horizontally, so people that are on the same journey as you. So if you're a pre-medical student, you are talking to other pre-medical students. If you are a medical student, you are talking to other medical students, okay? And we want to make sure that we're getting the contact information from 2 from each category, okay? 2 from each category. That's what I am imploring you guys to do today, okay? So as you're on your way to the conference, so I want you to network vertically and get 2 contacts. I want you to network horizontally and get 2 contacts, okay? So that's phone number or that is email address, okay? It's very, very important that you're exercising this muscle. Networking is so important and it's never going to stop even once you become attendings. So working that muscle now is going to help you as you continue to grow and go forward in your career. Okay? And honestly, it's not just for people that are interested in medicine. This happens in many different fields. Okay? You can't do this journey alone. I know some of us may want to do it alone and say, I can do it, I got it, but you can't do this journey alone. And honestly, it's boring to do it alone. Okay, so make sure that you're having people along the way that's going to help you, support you, encourage you, and guide you to where you're trying to go. Okay? The second thing is ask engaging questions. Make sure that you are going to the sessions that are for you. Okay? A lot of times they have an app that you can download prior to arriving at the conference. Go ahead and select some of the sessions that you are interested in going to. And make sure you go to those sessions. And when you get there, ask engaging questions. Get your questions answered. Get them answered in real time. Okay, you want to get your questions answered in real time. Don't feel shy and feel like you have to wait to the end of the session to get your question answered. You may be waiting on a long line and you could have asked your question during the actual presentation. Okay? And third is make sure that we are dressing the part. Okay? We want to show up professionally and we want to make sure that we are representing ourselves in the best way possible. Okay? Okay, hold on. We have a question. How did you create your med school list? My only must is that the med school should be pass or fail. Okay, so this is a really good question. This is a really good question. Is there anything else I should be looking for? So when it comes, so we're just switching gears real quick. After we ask this question, we're going to go, or answer this question, we're going to go into the don'ts for the SNMA conference. So when we think about making a medical school list, there's a lot of different things that you could think about. You have to think about location. You have to think about a support system. Is it close to your family? Is it close to friends? Okay. You also have to think about the demographic of the area. And these are just things that you can think about. If you don't care about them, then you can cross them off your list. Okay. You have to think about demographics, the amount of men, the amount of women, if it's important to you, the different people that attend the actual school in terms of race, right? You have to think about that. You also have to think about the size of the school. Is each class really small? Is it a large class? What type of class size would you thrive in? Okay. When it comes to curriculum, some schools are now moving to a 3-year program. Most schools are still staying at the 4-year program structure. You have to think about that. Of course, you have to think about, are schools doing pass fail, or are they giving grades? Are they giving letter grades? Are they giving number grades, right? And how does that affect your journey going forward? Okay. What does their board preparation look like? What does their board pass rate look like? What resources do they provide for their students, okay? Of course, as a pre-medical student, you're looking at, is it an MD school? Is it a DO school? I know there's still controversy about each whether allopathic or osteopathic. And honestly, I will tell you, and I will tell you guys over and over and over again, MD schools and DO schools have very similar learning curriculums, okay? Of course, I'm a DO, I'm an osteopathic physician. So at osteopathic schools, you learn the exact same things that students at allopathic schools learn. However, you just learn an additional form of practicing medicine called OMM, or osteopathic manipulative medicine, okay? It's not a lesser doctor, it's not a lesser route, it's not an easier route, it's just a different route, okay? Does that make sense? I'm gonna keep saying it over and over and over again. If you wanna be a doctor, apply MD or DO, okay? As long as you are practicing medicine well, as long as you are looking to be a physician that is empathetic to their patients and goes the extra mile for their patients, then that's all that matters, okay? Also, you have to look at, of course, you have to look at stats for the school. However, I always take stats with a grain of salt, because there's always people that fall to the right side. There's always people that fall to the left side of it. And of course, there's always a median, okay? So you have to look at where you kind of fall and kind of group your schools into different sections in terms of, you know, having some reach schools, of course, keeping the bulk of your schools somewhere in the middle where you're competitive and you know you could probably get in, and then schools where you feel like you're a shoo-in for, okay? Honestly, with applying to medical schools, no school is an actual shoo-in, okay? At the end of the day, this is all in the Lord's hands. So it really depends. Some students can get rejected from schools that they felt like I'm a total shoo-in for, and get accepted at schools where it was a reach school for them. So it really just depends, okay? But I think the most important thing when it comes to selecting schools in general is making sure that you align with the mission of the school. Okay, for pre-medical students, a lot of them feel like I can just go to any school, and that's fine. And you can, however, your experience is going to differ depending on the school that you go to. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're looking into these different schools to make sure that you align with what they're about, and also it aligns with how you want to practice as a physician. Okay, how you want to be groomed, how you want to grow, how you want to be molded, because of course the school that you go to does play a part into your philosophies, ideologies, rhetoric in terms of practicing medicine. Okay, so I hope that helps. That was the quick rundown of selecting schools. But those are some other things to think about. Another thing is public versus private schools, going to state schools. If you want to go to a public medical school, most of them will prioritize people that are from their state. So I'm in Georgia. Public medical schools here are going to prioritize people that live in Georgia because they know they could keep them within their communities and also help their people. Okay? If you have other ties to the state, this also gives you a leg up or some leeway, okay? It's not a hard, fast rule, but just to know that they are going to prioritize their own people. A lot of times public medical schools are a little bit less expensive than private medical schools, but as we know, medical school in general is expensive, okay? But it's expensive, but there's ways to get loans, and don't let the expense be the reason why you don't go to medical school, okay? Yeah, so that's why, that's one of the reasons why Texas has they have their whole separate situation, and anybody can apply, but they are going to prioritize people that live in Texas, or people that are going to definitely stay in Texas. So let's say I'm from New York, right? So even if I applied in Texas, but let's say most of my family already lived in Texas, they may rank me a little bit higher because I still have strong ties to Texas, right? But that's the premise, that they're keeping the people that go through that process in the areas where they are investing the money in them to become physicians. That's the whole purpose. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And we're going to talk about that more going forward. But thank you for that question. I know it's not a question that only you had. That's a question that a lot of other students can benefit from. So thank you for asking that question. Okay. So looking at the don'ts at the SNMA conference. So I talked about asking engaging questions during the sessions. You also want to make sure that you are not a mic hog, okay? At every conference, and Lord bless them, we love them. Really excited, want to ask a bunch of questions, love it. But we want to make sure that we're giving other people an opportunity to ask questions as well. Okay, so if you ask a question or two, lovely. Make sure that you're making room for other people to ask questions, because some of these sessions, they're so good, packed with information, packed with knowledge, packed with excellence. And a lot of times there's not a whole lot of time to answer a lot of questions at the end of the session. So we want to make sure that we are being considerate of our colleagues and friends and making sure that they can also ask the questions that they have, okay? Also, don't miss any session that you are interested in. Make sure that you are going to each session that you are interested in. Like I stated before, a lot of times it's really easy to just stick with your friends and stick with people that you know, and they may be going to sessions that don't necessarily interest you, but you don't want to be alone. Okay, that means that you're putting yourself at risk for not getting your questions answered and not being in sessions that are really important to you. Okay, so even if it means going to a session by yourself to get the information and the questions answered that you need in order to advance in your journey, I need you to do that. I know it may be a little bit scary. I know that it may be a little bit outside of your comfort zone, okay, to go to sessions alone, especially if this is your first SNMA conference. But I need you to prioritize what you need in your journey to get to the next level, okay? If you're just following someone else around, then you may not get exactly what you need, and your experience is going to be hindered because of that, okay? So I want you to make sure that you are going to the sessions that you are actually interested in and asking those engaging questions, okay? And at that session that you may have went to alone, this is a great time for you to network vertically or horizontally and get that contact information. Okay, because we're getting 2 contact information from a vertical networking experience and then also 2 from a horizontal networking experience. Okay, my third thing is, because I know my mentees like to have fun. I love it too, so I get it. But we want to make sure that we're not overplaying the social network scene. Okay, want to make sure that we are still keeping it real cute, real classy, real demure, okay? We want to make sure that we're still able to get up for the sessions that are really important. Before, I've spoken about the networking breakfast meetings that happen. I think they're Friday morning that they typically happen. I know that they have an osteopathic breakfast that typically happens on Friday morning, and there's usually a really good speaker at that session. I know getting up and getting ready and being dressed and alert for an 8 a.m. session can be difficult. I get it. I understand. I overstand. Dr. Nortey gets it. However, these sessions are invaluable. Okay, and there's specialized breakfast, so there's very limited space at these at the breakfast particularly, but just in general, especially if you're a delegate or someone that needs to be at the large board meetings and 8 a.m. is your slot time, you want to make sure that you are there ready and prepared. Don't be that guy where people are searching for and looking for because we had a little bit too much fun the night before, okay? And with that being said, make sure that you still participate in the social events, because they are so important as well. Okay, there's no hard work without hard play. Okay, there has to be both happening, especially at conferences. Networking is about the professionalism during the day, but all about the social networking at night as well. Okay, and both are very important, and both go into the experience that you have at AMEC, at the SNMA conference, and honestly any conference that you go to. Okay, so we talked about the do's, we've talked about the don'ts, we've also talked about school selection a little bit for my pre-medical students. So I know you guys are packing your bags. I know, make sure the airports are still a little bit crazy. Make sure that you guys are there early for your flights. Make sure that you're checking in. If you don't have to check a bag, don't check a bag, okay? Take a good carry-on and a personal item, okay, so that you don't have to encounter some of that craziness. But make sure you're there on time, have a safe flight, have a safe journey, and have a wonderful SNMA conference experience. I'm really looking forward to hearing your experience after you get back next week. Next week, we're going to be here again, 8 to 8:30. We're going to be having a grand old time. Of course, we're going to touch a little bit on the conference and what you guys experienced and all of that. If you want to email me, you could go ahead and do that to tell me, Dr. Nortey, I had a ball. Okay, and Dr. Nortey wishes she was going to the conference this year. I'm not. Hopefully, I will be there next year. But tell all of my peeps in Region 8 I said what's up. Okay, I am very excited for them. I know that they have put on an amazing conference this year. Also, another pro tip before I go, make sure you guys go to the medical school tours. If you are a pre-medical student, make sure that you go to the medical school tour. I believe this year they're going to one allopathic and one osteopathic school. So make sure that you go to the medical school tour. It can be life-changing. I still remember my medical school tour when I went to my first SNMA conference, okay? So make sure you are going to the tour. It can honestly open your eyes to questions that you're not asking, open your eyes to things that you're not even considering that is available to you. Make sure that you are going to these medical school tours, okay? If you have not done so, join my free newsletter, okay? It's free. Why not? It ain't gonna hurt you. It's only gonna make you better, okay? So make sure you go ahead and do that. Also, I want you guys to know, if you're like, listen, I love Dr. Nortey. I think that she would be an amazing keynote speaker. I think that she would be an amazing panelist. I think that she would be an amazing moderator for a panel. I think that our school should reach out to Dr. Nortey. You guys can do that at info@mknmentoring.com. Okay? info@mknmentoring.com. Okay, so make sure you're passing that on to your advisors, to your STEM counselors, to the powers that may be at your campus, so that they can get in contact with Dr. Nortey. Okay, I wish you guys a great conference week. I know that it's going to be fantabulous. Okay, make sure that you hit me in my DM. Make sure that you hit me in my email. Make sure that you hit me wherever you can find me. Okay, hit me and tell me, we're having a great time, Dr. Nortey. You should be here. Okay, I will be next year though, so catch me then. Alrighty, y'all, have an amazing